I am LJ Tucker. This is the 7,000 volt Live an Electrified Life podcast. Today we're going to be talking about family and the importance of family. And if you listen to my previous podcast, you heard me say, I think in probably the first episode, about working with family and friends, unless if they're a professional in the field that you're working in. That stands true today, and I don't stray from it. The reason why me and my wife can work so well at what we do, quite honestly, she's the smart one. She actually became a certified arborist before I did because she had more time to study and become the arborist while I was still in the field working. But she also brings her bachelor's degree in mass communications into play, and she's really, really good at what she does inside the office. She has an understanding that I don't when it comes to filling out paperwork, being in line with what some of these contracts require. It's more than just being in the field, trimming up the trees, talking to the customers, coming up with a plan. Because her and her team does a good job of dealing with the customer. Because without the customer, you really don't have a business. So you got to have a great line of communications dealing with the customers. Not that I can't, but it's good to delegate. And what way to delegate to somebody that's really good at what they do. Adele, what she brings to the table is so very unique because she's able to do a lot of leg work when it comes to paperwork and still be a mom. Her schedule's flexible. We have the room and the space here at the office for her to have the kids here when they need to be and still get them to their various appointments, whether it's gymnastics for our youngest daughter or it's piano lessons for our oldest daughter and our middle son, or baseball, basketball, or soccer for the boys. I don't miss many games of any as a father of any of the events. It's except of the boys, they normally, sometimes their baseball games overlaps and they have a game at the same time, so we have to split up. She take one game, I'll take the other game because their games are at the same time. Or if there's an event where all the kids can't be there, and so I'll keep half the kids with me and she'll take the kids to whatever event needs to go to, or vice versa. I'll take the kids to the event they need to go to and she'll be with the other half of the kids, especially if it's a late night or a school night. So that family part in business is real crucial, but at the same time, we're able to indirectly impact our kids by training them on what it is to work hard and the rewards. And so they have somewhat of a concept of what's going on. We stay involved with them, and that's important to us. There are times I take the kids, not just the boys, I take the girls, and we'll do a small little job. I'll do a small little job with them. I do more small jobs outside with them at the house, where we're doing landscaping or pulling the weeds out of the landscape beds. So that's all part of the process. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes around for each of us. The kids, I'm quite sure they would love to be at Astro Skate or at the park playing all the time, but we have to explain to them that we can't play all day every day. They'll be happy with the video games. And so we try to limit their screen time as parents. And so because of it, there's no screen time here at the office. If they're here at the office, they can go outside and be creative. Or my girls, they're real good at straightening and maintaining my office. And of course, they get a few dollars in their pocket for it. But the balance that we have to find is still a work in progress. I worked late a few weeks ago. I probably didn't get in until after 11 o'clock at night, and I was gone the next morning, probably at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning before the kids got back up. And my wife told me that our youngest son is like, where's Daddy? Is he sleeping at the office? he needs to come home and get some rest. So they're accustomed to seeing us work, and hopefully they understand, and hopefully we're instilling something in them so they can have the same type work ethic. So as they get older and they get faced with challenges and situations, and they'll realize that that they're training. Hopefully they'll be able to use one of my famous words is, we don't graduate from that. This is not something that we do. When they're faced with situations that can be life-changing, that can jeopardize their freedom or their life, as far as that go. We did Miss Olivia, my oldest daughter. She definitely had her run in on Christmas Day because she loves to cook. So she decided to cook some bacon on Christmas morning, and she did something wrong, and what smoked up the house. My phone was upstairs, so the fire alarm went off at the house. And next thing we know, I was like, oh no, where's my phone? Where's my phone? So I'm running around looking for the phone. And so I didn't catch the call from the security company in time. And by that time, I heard the sirens coming because the fire department showed up on Christmas Day to the house because of the smoke alarm. And she was devastated, but we didn't give her too much of a hard time, but she was able to learn from that. And I'm quite sure she'll tell you she graduated from that when it comes to cooking. So the certain thing that she did, I don't think she'll be doing that anymore. And she definitely learned from that. And it's going to be a feather in her cap when it comes to cooking, what to do and what not to do. It's all a part of the business for us, because these kids, they're impressionable. They're kind of the face of, the family they're out. And it's funny because they have their little uniforms on certain events that we may have here at the office. We'll have them in uniform. And that goes for my nieces, not my nieces, but some of my nephews. They've working with me in the past where we'll put them in uniform and bring them out to work, just showing the ropes. That was something, it's a little bit different experience from them when I was growing up. We had to work when I was growing up. We didn't get much pay behind it, and so it was a whole different experience for us growing up. Family is, again, it's a driving force for me. It's the American dream, if that's what you call it, but I think it's what God is intended for you to be able to spend time with your family. For me, it's my first ministry. And having 5 kids, it's never a dull moment in the house, which sometimes me and Adele's time get it neglected. But I don't think we see it that way, because we get our date nights in and we have to sit down and talk to realize, hey, when the last time we've been on a date one-on-one or something sometimes? And then we'll plan it and we'll make it happen. But just being able to be involved with our kids and their events, they're our life. So that's the most important thing to us. And so I'm very glad that we don't have those egos or like, well, these kids are getting all the time, we don't get to do this and that. It's never like that. So I think we complement each other when it comes to that aspect. But we do get our time in with each other, whether it's cooking with the kids, taking them bowling, going to the movies, taking them to their different events and stuff. Me and my girls, I like to get mani-pedis, get my hands and feet done. And the girls love going with me, so that's something we do together. We don't even take the mom when we do it. It's just me and the girls when we go and get our hands and feet done. But the thing is, it's one day at a time. There's no written script. We just flow with it. We try to stick with the biblical principles and stick to it. Where it gets challenging with your biblical principles and your faith is with some of the holidays that everybody celebrates. We don't celebrate all the holidays, and one particular is like Halloween, and the kids don't get why they can't have costumes and go trick-or-treating and stuff. And it gets challenging. I don't give in. They work on their mom more than they work on me, because she's like, well, why can't we do it? It's because we're not going to really talk about that. It's not something we're going to do because that's the way we practice it. And, you know, people have their different opinions about it and they disagree. And it's just, I don't find a threat. I didn't do it growing up, and I really never found a true reason to celebrate it with ghosts and goblins running around. And you get to check through candy. People might be trying to poison your kid or not. It's like, you know what? We buy them their own bag of candy if that's what they want and call it a day. And so your faith get challenged in that, trying to go in a biblical way of what you believe in your own self-truths. And you get those challenges in business as well, too, because you'll get challenges where your faith get tested when a customer may get tested with you. They might not want to pay for whatever reason. And so you keep it professional, you stay positive, you don't sink to that level where it turns into an argument with a customer or anybody, because you get not only the customers, but the customers' neighbors. You know, we come in with big trucks and equipment, and people feel a certain kind of way, and they got something to say, and they're not always as nice about saying it. So you have to keep that smile and try to accommodate within reason, so as it doesn't turn into a bigger situation where there's violence or any police involved. So you try to some people just don't have anything better else to do, and you have to recognize it for what it is, and you keep it moving forward. You know, I love to educate, especially being a certified arborist, being able to give a diagnosis of a tree when it comes to it. And sometimes I always tell people I'm a horrible salesperson because I don't try to sell, I try to educate. You know, there's times I come out and I'll tell a person, hey, there's nothing wrong with this tree. It doesn't need to come out. In fact, it doesn't even need to be trimmed. They say, well, I want to trim these limbs. And I have to educate on why no more limbs should be trimmed off the tree, because the tree is low in energy and it needs time to the canopy to fill back in. And the best action is no action on that tree at a particular time. And I don't try to sell. Again, I want to educate the customer so they understand or have a better understanding of what's going on their property with their trees. Because some people get sold on fear from the news about hurricane season or something, and they think, well, if this tree fell, it's going to hit our house. And I'm like, well, in some cases, I have to explain, you got a better chance of hitting the Powerball or lottery than this tree felling. And that being said, I don't have a crystal ball, but this is a healthy tree. And if you just start cutting down trees because the if factor, there'd be no trees left on the planet, because all trees are a potential to fail, but there's no reason to cut them down just because you think it may fall on your house when there's no evidence supporting that fact. And there's cases where evidence support that if this tree fell, your house is a target, and then it has to be taken care of. But those are the challenges, because some people just don't like trees because they put down leaves, and you have to explain that to them. You can cut this tree down, you're still going to get leaves because of all the other trees that are in the neighborhood. And some people are okay with it when you educate them, and some people are not educated with it, because some people just want to pay you to do what they want done versus doing what's right to do at a particular time. My kids, they don't realize how good they got it at this point. They're too young to, but they do understand the concept of what we're teaching them. We've taught them the simplest things biblically. They pray over their food, and they look forward to those prayers because they like to take turns praying over their food as well. We go to a church called Grace Family Church. In fact, they'll be doing Easter Sunday at Raymond James Stadium here in Tampa, Florida, and my kids love Grace. That church is set up for the kids, so they get to experience like none other, especially when I was growing up, because when I grew up, we grew up in the church, but we didn't get the same experience because there was no children's church. We had to eat the meat and potatoes with the adults because it wasn't a separate service. For my kids, they get children's church, so they get taught on their level, which is huge and big, because I'm always teaching every moment I get with my kids that they got greatness in their future, and why God is important to them, and why we should keep God first and consult with Him, and teaching them how to pray, so they can have that background of their faith, and so as they get older, they can grow into their faith and make good decisions and better decisions from what I made when I got of age, when I turned 18, or actually 17 probably, when I started straying little by little. And I make no excuses for past mistakes and decisions that I made, because I graduated from it. But what I do is I try to teach my kids, so as they get older, I'm giving them something that I didn't have. And I'll touch on this later. My dad works for me. Now, he's probably been with me for over 10 years, but I didn't grow up with my dad. So with my dad working for me, this is me getting to know my dad over the years. And I can say this, understand why the universe or God, why things worked out, why I didn't grow up with my dad. And whatever the relationship between him and my mom, and things didn't work out, that's fine. It had nothing to do with me. I wasn't, I have nothing to do with that. So I won't speak on that. But what I will say, I don't think I would be where I'm at and who I am if I had more of my dad's influence growing up. And I'm not saying that to say it, but, over the past 10 years, I got to know my dad. He's good at heart. He's a good person. But we're two different people. We both believe in God, but we have two different philosophies, and I don't know if that would have worked well with getting to where I'm at with his philosophy. And so sometimes things work out best for our good. The Bible explains that too. He said all things work out for our good, us who love the Lord. And so I had some family members that didn't like the fact that my dad came to work for me. And they had some choice words about how can he come and work for me. And mine was simple. I have no grudges. I have no ill will against anybody. And so I have to do what I'm led to do and stay to my truths. And so what he did teach me indirectly was how not to be and how to be as a father. And so I made it my mission as a father that I'm going to give my kids what I didn't have growing up. I'm going to give them a father. I'm going to give them what I didn't have. And so I think I'm doing a pretty good job at that. And I think my kids would be better off for that as well, because it's simple with me. I have no hidden agenda how to raise my kids. It's funny when I hear people say, there's no instruction manual in raising kids. I just have to disagree with you because there's an instruction manual, and it's called the Bible. That Bible will give you every instruction that you need if you will actually pick it up and read it. It gives you some explicit instructions on how to raise your kids and how to be there. And that's where I get my instructions from. And we've done a good job, not just me, but me and my wife have done a great job with these kids. And we got them on a path and on the right track for greatness in their future. In fact, my kids went to the Easter service at Raymond James Stadium by Grace Family Church. We've been at Grace for about 12 years. And when we started, Grace and Lutz was the only campus. Now, if I'm saying this correctly, there's 8 campuses across the Tampa Bay area. And they strive and cater into the kids, making sure that they have a good program to teach them the Bible and the ways of God. Dealing with family and friend also has its ups and downs. And when I say family, and I'm not necessarily talking about my immediate family. I remember my grandmother, when she was alive, she was like, she would always refer her friends and some family to me to get tree work. And I quickly learned that that's not my best source of income when it comes to friends and family of getting tree work. Because a lot of times people haven't had professionals do tree work. So they'll get a quote and they don't know what to expect. And so they get a price and they don't realize that you're trying to do a favor because they're a friend and family. So now through my graduation speech, I've learned when a family member try to refer a friend or family, I'm like, I graduated from that. And they look and say, what do you mean? I said, they need to get a couple of estimates before we can come out and give them an estimate. It's like, why you want them to do that? So they can get an idea of what it costs to get tree work done. Because when you haven't had it done, it can be a price or a sticker shock. In the beginning, it's like if you don't own a house, you don't know what it's like when the AC breaks and you get that $5,000 or $6,000 bill to replace the unit. And you never experienced that if you didn't own a house. And so if you own a house and you're getting tree work done and it can be $500, a couple hundred, or $1,000, you don't know that. And so when you get that bill the first time, or the estimate the first time to get it done, I'll just say uneducated people get offended easily because they're definitely uneducated when it comes to that sort of thing. It's all in mindset. If your mindset is getting 39-cent or 99-cent cheeseburgers at McDonald's, then in my opinion is, if you let McDonald's, I'm not knocking them, you're okay with the 99-cent cheeseburger. But if you want a quality cheeseburger, you're going to pay more than 99 cents for it if you go to Chili's or Outback Steakhouse or a place that serves an authentic burger. It's going to cost you 10 or 15 bucks. That's a sticker shock for somebody that never paid more than 99 cents for a burger. And so once you graduate to eating quality food as well as getting quality work done, it comes at a cost. And that's where the education come in. And certain education, it doesn't take a degree. It just take a mindset. Hey, listen, I want quality things. I want to do things right. And it comes at a cost. This is what we work hard for. We don't work to eat all our money up. We work to enjoy our money and to spend it diligently and correctly so we can try to enjoy the finer things in life when it comes to what the best things that life has to offer. And so that's where I'm at with my mindset when it comes to getting things done, eating good food. I'm not looking for name brand shoes. I'm not looking for name brand clothes. I'm looking for something that fits. I'm looking for quality. I definitely stand on my feet all day, so I'm definitely not looking for a 99-cent pair of shoes that's going to put my back in a bad situation. Like again, I graduated from that. We don't wear uncomfortable shoes. We don't wear those type of shoes that don't help with the body. And as far as uniforms, I remember when I wore shorts and tank tops out doing people work, we graduated from that as well. We wear uniforms, dark navy blue pants and the blue shirt I normally have on every day. I'm actually wearing this black shirt now for a change to switch it up because I'm always blue, 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 blue. Blue is my favorite color. But when I'm out, we have a uniform that we put the guys in. And that's a part of the process. It's a mindset. You want people in business to not only to respect, but to understand that you understand what you're doing and we're looked apart. Sometimes people never wear a suit until they go into court, then they got in trouble, or they're going to church. And, but people, they'll spend a fortune on clothes to go to the nightclub. That's the background that I grew up in, and just knowing how some people operate, they'll spend more money that's wasted than money that will be a benefit to their life, or it's more of an asset to them. And I'm grateful again for just having a supportive family, whether it's directly or indirectly from encouraging words. Sometimes they don't even know the impact. Just a phone call or just a conversation, and just, man, we're proud of you. You know, I have friends as well. They say, man, we're proud of you, man. You came a long way from what you've been through to dealing with getting locked up when you was young and getting electrocuted, and to where you're at now with your family, doing a good job raising your family. One of my greatest encouragers was my grandmother, man. She would say stuff that wasn't even happening yet. She's like, yeah. She's like, I'm so proud of you, how you take care of your kids and spend this time and do this and that with them. And it just always get me to reflect, to be like, am I spending enough time with my kids? Am I doing this? Am I doing this enough? So it's the little things. I don't look for the big, gigantic things. I don't look for the tangible support financially all the time. Sometimes just an encouraging word for me does it. And so that's what I look for to grow. I look forward to myself, and I look forward to my kids. And the kids, man, they just say that they're unfiltered, man. They just say some of the darndest things sometimes, man. Just they have their own little mind, their own little world, their little suggestions, and they're so talented, man. That keeps me going. That helps me go the extra mile, just to see the product in my kids that they're producing. My son Michael, in baseball and basketball, he has his own fan group. He's like a little wrecking ball, regardless if it's soccer, baseball, or basketball. Those are 3 sports he's playing right now. And he also does piano. And just to watch them thrive in their own little world, he's like his own little superstar. And he embraces it well, because they're always chatting his name, whatever sports he's playing, because he's very aggressive. Again, he's like a little wrecking ball. He has no fear, and he feels no pain. I've learned to choose faith over fear. Faith is just believing in the unseen things over fear. Faith to tell you, take the plunge, buy a house, buy a commercial building. Fear will tell you something different. It'll be like, oh, you can't afford that. Man, you was born on the wrong side of the tracks. That's not something you're supposed to be doing. I've heard this from different family members. I've heard this from different people that's just not on that level. So I've always choose faith over fear. And there's instances, when hard decisions had to be made. I can remember when Tiger Joe was working with me in the tree business, and very, very smart person. We just lived 2 different lives, and we had 2 different agendas. And with him, it was, he just had a whole different life. He wanted to live outside of staying on the straight and narrow. He even mentioned to me before his passing, before we even got to the passing, before we went our separate ways in business, it didn't work out. It was a mutual agreement, like conversations we had. He's like, man, I'm really appreciative of you, because if I wasn't working with you, I'd probably be back in prison. You were always trying to get me to continue to do the right thing, and I don't do it. There's times, he come to work, he said, man, I've been out all night at the club. I just got home at 6 o'clock this morning, and at 7:30 we're supposed to be working. I'm like, how is this going to work out? And so, unfortunately, we parted our ways, and unfortunately for him, he didn't get that same mentorship and guidance, and he wound up going back to prison. And it's just, I don't want to rag on him. I love that he was family, and it was tough. That was a tough decision, period, because you always want to help. But, the Bible tells us he helps those who help themselves, and you have to be wanting to help. I don't like a helpful person that wants to be helped. I can give you a set of tools. I can give you the guidance. You can read all the important books in the world. But if you don't apply the information, you can listen to this podcast. You can write down my life story. You can write down all the keys to success that has helped me be successful. but if you don't apply it, it's no good to you. Yeah, a chainsaw is no good if I don't crank it up to trim or cut down a tree with it. It's useless. A chainsaw to a doctor is a useless piece of equipment. A grapple truck or a boom truck to a doctor or a lawyer, a useless piece of equipment. So there's instances in business, when you train you guys about the dangers of this business. I don't particularly personally like to talk about negative stuff or what you call them, but some things are very necessary to talk about. And it's not buying into the fear. You just educating and teaching your employees and people around you of the dangers that lurk, so they can be aware. Something that most people won't even think of in my industry are bees. That's one of the most deadly hazards we can have, because you get a hollow tree or a cavity in a tree, and there's a bee in that beehive in the center of that tree somewhere, and you don't see it. You're about to have a bad day, And any hive can be anywhere from 10 to hundreds of thousands of bees in that hive, and you go near it with a chainsaw cutting, that can be the last tree that you're cutting on, or you can get severely injured. I've had to jump 10 feet out of a bucket because there's a beehive lurking and you couldn't see it from the ground. You couldn't see it because it was tucked away in a pocket where you didn't see until you got knee deep in the tree trying to remove it, until you're getting attacked by these bees and you're trying to swing away and you're fighting for your life. And I remember time in countryside, I'm trying to swing out, but the bees were attacking me so bad, I had to jump the rest of the way just to get away from them fast enough. So those, the threat and hazards are there. I still choose my faith over fear. Do I not trim trees because of the hazard, because it's dangerous? No. You educate yourself through the proper training and do the best you can and ask God to lead and guide you so you make the right decisions, and He keeps you safe and He helps you be aware to see the dangers that lurk. And He's done a good job doing that. He's kept me safe from myself and helped save me from myself even when I didn't have a clue what was going on, when I made bad decisions for myself to put me and my future in jeopardy. And so my plan is not to do that. My plan is not to put my family's safety in jeopardy, put this business in any type of jeopardy. So I take one day at a time to move forward, to make not the perfect decision, but the right decision for the time. Because there's so many scriptures in the Bible, and you can read one scripture that has 1,000 different meanings at the time that you need it. And that's what you get from different scriptures. And, we try not to lean on our own understanding, Proverbs 3, and we try to lean on God's understanding where He leads and guide us. I think it's Proverbs 3:3-5. Lean not on your own understanding, but through God's understanding, and, He's going to lead and guide us. And I don't see how it can't work from other people, but for me, I'm telling you, it has brought about a change in my life, and it brought me to where I'm at, because it said God takes pride and prosper in His people, and He's a part of me, and I'm a part of Him. However that works in the grand scheme of the universe, I like the path that I've been on for the past 25 years, and it's been working. Has it been all peaches and cream and la la land? No, it's been life. I'm enjoying the journey, and it's been quite a journey that is. And so I'm going to continue to move forward. I'm going to continue to bring you these episodes, a part of my life, my story, and hopefully it can bring about a change or help you grow in life and help you graduate and have little graduation ceremonies to help you move forward to next steps in your life. Thank you for listening to this podcast on me discuss my family. You can, if you like this episode, like, comment, and subscribe. For more information, you can go to my website at ljtucker.com. Remember, life is not about finding yourself. It's creating yourself. Have a great day. Have a blessed week. Thank you.